The phone rang 22 times in 1 hour. I know because my daughter counted it like a game. I was 300 miles from home, on a beach blanket on Tybee Island, watching my son dig a hole to China with a plastic shovel. My mother was calling from a resort parking lot in Hilton Head. My sister was next to her, screaming at a clerk who couldn't give them a room they hadn't paid for. I didn't know that yet. All I knew was the ocean, the sand, and the fact that for the first time in 4 years, I'd chosen my kids over my family's expectations. But that call, and the 21 that followed, were just the end. Let me tell you how we got here. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories. I'm Teresa, 33, a bookkeeper outside Atlanta. This is how my sister convinced my mother to cut me and my kids from the family vacation, and what happened when they tried to pay for it with money that was already gone. If you've ever paid for everything and gotten nothing back, drop a comment. I worked at Dr. Calloway's veterinary clinic on Route 9. Bookkeeper, $47,000 a year. Not glamorous, not terrible. I reconciled invoices, balanced payroll, tracked inventory, made sure the numbers added up so Dr. Calloway could focus on the animals. Numbers don't lie. They don't borrow money. They don't guilt you at Thanksgiving. Lily was 8, Jake was 5. Their father left when Jake was 6 months old, and the less said, the better. Every morning I was up at 5:30, packed 2 lunches, dropped the kids, worked till 5:15, then dinner, bath, books, bed, repeat. I kept a budget spreadsheet with 14 columns, clipped coupons, bought gas on discount days, and put $150 a month into a travel account I pretended didn't exist. I was good with money, had to be. But being good with money in my family wasn't a skill, it was a target. People don't resent you for being broke. They resent you for being careful when they aren't. My father understood that. He was the only one who did. 4 years ago, he lay in a hospital bed with a kidney that had quit on him. Robert Young, plumber, 62, hands rough as shingles, never sent a bill late. I was 29. My sister Denise was 34. We stood on opposite sides of his bed like mismatched bookends. He looked at me, not her. Teresa, I need you to handle things. He meant the finances, Mom's bills, the house. He pulled a manila envelope from under his pillow. The life insurance policy, Mom's bank login, a list of bills in his own handwriting. Keep the lights on for your mama, that's all I'm asking. I took it. My hands shook. His didn't. Denise watched from the window and said nothing until we reached the elevator, then texted me in the parking garage. Dad always liked you better. Enjoy your little promotion. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. I wasn't surprised he'd asked me and not her. Denise had bounced checks and borrowed from his retirement without paying it back. He loved her. He just didn't trust her with a checkbook. Dad died 3 months later. The insurance paid $85,000. I sat at my kitchen table with a calculator and did exactly what he asked. Medical debt, roof repair, a new water heater. What was left, I put $22,000 into an untouchable account in Mom's name and set up a $300 monthly transfer, like rent, to cover the gap between her Social Security and her actual bills. Denise contributed nothing. I have my own family to worry about, she said, from her house with a pool and a leased Lexus. What she did have was leverage. Madison and Tyler, Mom's 2 youngest grandkids, spent like currency. If you keep inviting Teresa on weekends, I won't bring the kids around, she told Mom, casual as a weather report. Mom stopped inviting me. I found out because Lily asked why Grandma only wanted her on Wednesdays now. I didn't have a good answer. I adjusted the schedule and kept sending the $300. Every summer since I was 9, the Young family went to Jekyll Island. Same cabins, same screened porches, sand and everything. It was the one week nobody argued about money. When Dad died, the tradition should have died with him, but I couldn't let it go. Lily loved the tide pools. Jake's first trip was at 10 months old and he ate sand and laughed about it. So I kept booking it, organizing it, paying for it. Last summer, 2 rooms, 4 nights, $2,200 total. I paid $1,800. Denise Venmo'd $400 2 months late after I asked 3 times. Mom paid nothing. I told myself it was for the kids. That's what you say when you're subsidizing people who don't say thank you. My travel account had grown to $2,600. Clean, separate, earmarked for one thing. That was last summer. This summer, my sister had a different plan. 3 months before summer, Kyle Pratt, Denise's ex, a flooring salesman with a cracked taillight and a grudge, stood in her driveway doing the kid handoff. You know Teresa turned me down for that $5,000, right? He'd asked me for a loan the previous fall. I'd said no, politely, once. He hadn't forgotten. Your mom's still on Teresa's bank account, right? As an authorized user? Denise didn't answer right away. Book the trip. Use that card. She owes this family. 3 seconds of silence. That was all the conscience she had left. She does owe us, Denise said. Kyle grinned and drove off. I was at home helping Lily with multiplication tables. I didn't know any of this yet, but the plan was already moving, and my name was on the receipt. Madison's 10th birthday, April. Mom's house. I brought 24 cupcakes. The party was fine for an hour. Then Denise pulled me into the kitchen. We've decided to go to Hilton Head this year. Me, Mom, and the kids. Your kids aren't coming. My kids don't want them there. Flat, rehearsed. Through the doorway, I saw Mom holding a debit card between 2 fingers. My emergency card, left with her 2 years earlier for groceries or a doctor visit. Why do you have my card, Mom? Denise said she needed it for the booking. Pam Whitfield from church saw the whole thing from the living room. Denise's jaw tighten. Mom clutch the card. Me do the math. I nodded once. Keep it, I said, called my kids, and left. That night, I opened my banking app. A month earlier, I'd caught a $400 withdrawal Mom blamed on the wrong card at the pharmacy. I'd checked further. 3 more small withdrawals I'd never authorized. The bank said removing an authorized user required both parties present or a notarized request, 7 to 10 business days. I didn't have that patience. So, the next morning, I drove to a different credit union, opened new accounts, and moved everything. $2,600 from savings, $1,400 from checking. The old account sat with $12 in it, and a debit card in my mother's hand. I told no one. Here's what I've learned about money and family. The moment someone holds your bank card like they own it, they're not keeping it safe, they're keeping you close. If you've ever had to move your money to move on, hit that like button, because this story is just getting started. 2 weeks later, at Sunday dinner, Denise pulled up photos of the Hilton Head Resort. White balconies, a turquoise pool, $3,200 for 4 nights. You can't afford it anyway, she laughed. Jake looked up from his mashed potatoes. Are we going to the beach too, Mommy? The table went quiet. We'll have our own adventure, buddy, I said, and washed the dishes like nothing happened. In the car afterward, I searched Savannah Beach Vacation Family. At 11:30 that night, over cold coffee, I found Tybee Island, 20 minutes from Savannah. Not fancy, sand and water and a porch, the kind of place Dad would have picked. The Tybee Island Inn had a room for the last week of June, $89 a night. I ran the numbers line by line. Room, $356, gas, $200, food, $300, activities, $150. Total, $1,006. I had $2,600. I booked it. The confirmation arrived in 12 seconds. I wrote, "Just beach," on a sticky note and stuck it on the fridge. No dates, no details. Lily found it the next morning. Beach? Are we going? It's a surprise. I smiled, my first real one in weeks. I only learned the full shape of Denise's plan afterward, pieced together through the family grapevine. Denise had booked the oceanfront Palmetto Suites in early April, 2 adjoining rooms, $3,200 total. She put $800 down herself. The remaining $2,400 was due 3 days before check-in, and she never intended to pay it herself. Teresa's card will cover the rest, she told Mom. She owes us. Mom paused, then let it go. Kyle texted that night. Smart move. She'll never know until it's done. Denise sent back a thumbs up. May was busy at the clinic, allergy season, every dog in the county scratching itself raw. Dr. Calloway, 53, silver-haired, told me I seemed lighter lately. I felt like I'd set down a suitcase I'd forgotten I was carrying. Then, 3 blocks from home, Lily went quiet the way a lake goes still before weather. Cousin Madison said we can't go on the trip because we're not real family. Aunt Denise, she said, when I asked who'd told her. I gripped the wheel and counted 3 seconds by the turn signal. Lily, you are my family, the realest family I know, and we're going on our own trip. With dolphins? Jake asked. Maybe with dolphins. That night, I opened the banking app and looked at the recurring $300 transfer, roughly $14,400 over 4 years, keeping Mom's lights on while Denise drove a leased Lexus and told my daughter she wasn't real family. I canceled it. I emailed Mom, "The transfer won't continue, I love you." She called 2 minutes later, confused and accusing. "You have savings, Mom, and Denise lives 10 minutes away." She hung up. Denise texted, "What did you do? Mom is crying." I set the phone face down, folded towels, and slept better than I had in months. A week before the trip, I found a shoebox on the closet's top shelf. Dad's union card, a faded photo from Jekyll Island, 1988, and an envelope with my name in his block letter handwriting, one I'd never opened. 7 sentences. Teresa, you're the one who keeps her word. Don't let anyone turn your kindness into a key to your wallet. If the day comes when helping them hurts you, stop. You already kept the lights on long enough. Take your babies to the beach. Dad. I folded it behind my driver's license, where I'd feel it every time I reached for a card. I took the kids shopping on a $40 budget. Jake found shark goggles, $5.97, non-negotiable. Lily picked a pink starfish swimsuit, $14. Flip-flops, sunscreen, a mesh bag, $34.97 total, under budget by $5.03. I packed the duffel bag into the back of the closet, not hidden exactly, just not visible. My family had a way of dropping by unannounced, and I didn't need questions I wasn't ready to answer. A week out, Denise was still sending me photos in the family group text she'd forgotten or not bothered to remove me from. The glowing pool, the ocean view balcony, a seafood restaurant, then a message. Mom, I booked the dinner cruise too. $480, same card. I checked the old account. $12.34. She was about to charge $480 to an account that couldn't buy a tank of gas. I didn't reply. Numbers I could fix. Family I could not. Kyle dropped the kids off that Friday, bragging to Denise that my $150 a month travel deposit meant at least $2,000 by now was sitting in that account, already paid for. He didn't know I'd moved it in March. That night, Denise sat alone at her counter, thumb hovering over my contact photo. The 2 of us at Jekyll Island, sand on our knees, Lily's missing front teeth. 5 seconds. She put the phone down. She could have called. She didn't. 3 days before check-in, the resort ran the remaining $2,400 charge. Declined. An automated email followed. Pay within 48 hours or lose the $800 deposit. Denise called Mom, who drove to the bank, checked the balance, $12.34, and called back stunned. That's impossible. She puts money in every month. Well, it's not there now. Denise called me next. I was at my desk, saw her name, pressed decline, and balanced column B on the first try. She had 48 hours. Her credit card had $1,200 available against the $2,400 she needed. Kyle wouldn't lend her a dime. Mom withdrew $600 from her own account for an emergency and drove it over in an envelope. Denise scraped the last $600 from her card, maxing it at $3,000, and sent $1,200 to the resort. Still $1,200 short. She called again while I bathed Jake with his rubber shark. I let it go to voicemail. I know you moved your money. We need to talk. The next evening, she showed up at my door, mascara smudged, looking like she hadn't slept. What did you do with the money? My money? It's in my account, just not the one you were planning to steal from. Steal? Mom's an authorized user. Then why didn't you ask me? She softened, tried an apology, asked for help. For Mom? I let it hang. You told my daughter she wasn't real family. We're done here. I closed the door and turned the deadbolt loud enough for her to hear. Through the window, I watched her kick my daughter's welcome mat sideways before driving off. The next morning, Mom called the clinic line, knowing I'd have to pick up. Can't you just put the money back for the family? You held my card like it was yours. You told me my kids weren't welcome. That was Denise's idea. I just went along. That's the problem, Mom. You always just go along. She cried the performance cry, the one with precise sniffles. Then she played her last card. Your father would be so disappointed in you. Dad told me to stop when helping started hurting, I said, and the line went dead. At the grocery store that evening, Pam Whitfield told me flatly, I was at Madison's birthday. I saw everything. Teresa, you don't owe anyone anything. Your daddy would say the same. She squeezed my hand, the way you'd pull someone across a ditch, and went back to comparing oatmeal. That was it. No speech, just a woman who'd known my father for 30 years saying so. That night, kids asleep, I loaded the car in 4 trips. Cooler, sandwiches, duffel bags, striped beach towels, Jake's shark goggles set on top so he'd see them first thing. I texted Dr. Calloway that I was taking Friday off. She wrote back, have the best time. You deserve it. I sat on the porch steps with a glass of lemonade, 4 missed calls from Denise, 2 from Mom, and let them sit unanswered. My father's letter was folded behind my license. I didn't need to read it again. I finished the lemonade and went to bed. That same afternoon, 250 miles north, Denise's SUV pulled into the Palmetto Suites lot after a 4-hour drive, Mom stiff in the passenger seat, Madison and Tyler already shouting about the pool. At the front desk, the clerk found a $1,200 shortfall. Denise's maxed-out card was declined again. I don't have any more money, Mom said to no one. Mom, what's happening? Madison asked. Denise grabbed Mom's arm. Call Teresa, now. Mom's hands were shaking, the real kind this time. We'd arrived at Tybee at noon, room 6, small and clean, salt air and lemon cleaner, a screen door onto a narrow porch. By 1 o'clock, we were on the beach. Lily chased waves, Jake dug a hole with a plan only he understood. My phone rang at 2:15. Mom. I looked at my kids and pressed decline. It rang again. Declined. 22 times over the next hour, and I didn't answer once. I wasn't angry, wasn't making a point. I was standing in the Atlantic holding my son's hand while he looked for dolphins, and that mattered more than anything happening in a parking lot 200 miles away. Back at the resort, Denise lost it in the lobby, loud enough to turn heads, to make Madison cry quietly by the potted fern, to make the manager ask them to leave. In the parking lot, 95 degrees, deposit gone, credit maxed, Mom sat on a concrete bench looking 10 years older. Who's paying for this? She asked, small and tired. Teresa was supposed to. Teresa didn't agree to pay, Mom cut in, the first time in years I'd heard she'd done that. I asked her. She said no. You told me she'd never notice. You went along with it? Because you said you'd stop bringing the kids around if I didn't. There it was, the truth, spoken in a resort parking lot instead of a courtroom. In the back seat, Tyler said, I want Aunt Teresa. Don't you dare say her name, Denise snapped, and Tyler flinched. The 4-hour drive home was silent until Madison, scrolling Instagram on Mom's phone, found the photo I'd posted. Lily and Jake beside a lopsided sandcastle. Beach day with my 2 favorites. Mom stared at it and handed the phone back without a word. Later, Tyler woke and asked why he and Madison couldn't have gone too. Mom turned in her seat. "Denise, what have we done?" "Don't start, Mom." At sunset on Tybee, the sky turned copper and purple over the water. Lily slept on my lap. Jake kept digging his crab trap 20 feet away. I had 22 missed calls from Mom, 14 from Denise, 3 voicemails. I played the first. Mom's voice cracked. "The trip fell apart. We drove all the way there for nothing. Please call me back." I listened to the whole thing, then zipped the phone into the beach bag. I didn't call back. There was nothing I could say that would fix what they'd done, and nothing they could say that would undo how they'd planned it. Jake ran up with a broken sand dollar. "Is it still good if it's broken?" "The best ones always are, buddy," I said, and he ran back to his trap. That night in Georgia, Denise called Kyle from her kitchen counter, a glass of wine she couldn't afford in hand. "Your brilliant plan cost me $800 and a vacation." "My plan? You booked a resort you couldn't afford. I suggested it. You did it. This is Teresa's fault." A long pause. "Is it, though?" He hung up. She sat alone with a maxed-out card, $600 owed to Mom, a photo of all 4 kids at Jekyll Island on the fridge, and nobody left to blame who'd accept it. She turned the photo face down and finished her wine. We came home Sunday, tan and happy. Jake told Dr. Calloway about the dolphin that had come so close it grew from 10 feet to 10 inches in the retelling. Tuesday, Mom called. "Can we talk? I want to apologize. I shouldn't have let Denise decide." "But you knew she was going to charge something." Silence. "Mom, I love you, but from now on, my finances are mine. No shared accounts, no cards at your house, no emergency access. You want to see Lily and Jake? You're welcome any Sunday, but I'm not funding plans that don't include me." "I understand," she said, though I don't think she fully did yet. Understanding isn't a switch. It's a slow thing, like water wearing a groove in stone. Denise didn't call for 2 weeks, its own kind of answer. "She'll never forgive you for ruining the vacation," Mom mentioned once. "She'll have to forgive herself first," I said. 3 weeks after Hilton Head, at the town potluck, Denise and I made eye contact across the folding tables. Hers slid away first. No confrontation, no speech. Life isn't a courtroom. Madison ran up asking if Lily could play. "Of course, sweetie, anytime." Denise watched from across the room and left before the pie was served. I stayed, ate potato salad, talked to Pam about a leaky roof, drove home, gave Jake a bath, read Lily 2 chapters. A normal Tuesday, the best kind. If someone needs your bank card to keep you in the family, you were never in the family, you were funding it. A letter from a plumber who knew his daughter's worth. 22 unanswered calls. A broken sand dollar that was still good enough. If you've ever moved your money to move on, or said no to someone who thought your kindness was a subscription, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Comment your story, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.